Today, we're diving into a technology that's radically challenging our very sense of reality. It's called deepfakes. These are AI-generated creations, and they're blurring the line between what's real and what's completely made up, creating a kind of synthetic reality with huge implications for all of us.
So let me just ask you, can you still believe your own eyes? It seems like a simple question, right? But in the age of AI, the answer is getting more and more complicated. Forever, the saying was, seeing is believing. That was a basic truth. But as deepfake tech gets better and easier to find, we're walking into a world where our own eyes might not be the most reliable source anymore.
So to really wrap our heads around this, here's our game plan. We'll start with the basics. What even are deepfakes? Then we'll look at how they're being used to attack people's identities and how that's causing trust to crumble across society. After that, we'll dive into the race to find a solution, and finally, we'll ask the big question: what does the future hold?
Okay, first things first, what exactly is a deepfake? You know, the word itself is pretty new, but the technology's impact, well, that has been absolutely explosive. The name itself actually gives you a pretty big clue. It's a mashup of two words, deep learning and fake. Deep learning is this really powerful kind of artificial intelligence, and it's the engine that drives this whole process. The end result can be so convincing, it's often genuinely impossible to tell it apart from the real thing.
So how do they actually do it? Well, the most popular technique is pretty fascinating. It's called a generative adversarial network, or GAN. The easiest way to think about it is like a high-stakes competition between two AIs. One AI, the generator, is like an artist, and its job is to create the best possible fake. The other AI, the discriminator, is like a detective, and its only job is to spot the forgery. Every time the detective catches a fake, the artist learns from its mistake and gets better. It's this constant battle, this digital arms race happening inside the computer that makes the fake so unbelievably good. And the progress has been incredibly fast. I mean, in just a handful of years, this tech went from clumsy, pretty obvious face swaps to fakes that are so sophisticated they're being used for political attacks and to create fake news clips. That speed is a huge part of the challenge we're dealing with right now. But this technology is so much more than just a tech demo. It has a very real and often devastating human cost. We're talking about the full-on weaponization of a person's identity, used against them.
And the numbers here are they're sickening. According to one analysis, a staggering 90 to 95% of all deepfakes online are non-consensual explicit material, and the overwhelming majority of this abuse targets women. So this isn't some fringe problem. This is the main and most destructive use of deepfake technology today.
So what does that actually do to a victim? Well, it's so much more than just a doctored photo. It's having your identity stolen and twisted. It's being digitally forced into a kind of sex work you never, ever consented to. It leads to relentless harassment, people trying to silence you, and it can absolutely destroy your reputation, both personally and professionally. The psychological trauma from that is just immense and long-lasting.
An ethicist put it this way, and it really gets to the core of it. The problem isn't only the harm to one person. It's a direct assault on the trust we all have in what we see. And that erosion of trust, it sends ripples out across all of society.
And that's where we're going next. This wider erosion of trust. What happens to a society when the very idea of visual proof, of evidence, just starts to fall apart?
Law enforcement agencies like Europol are already mapping out the different threats, and they touch pretty much everything. We're talking about disrupting politics by faking videos to swing elections, or causing economic chaos with corporate fraud. Extremist groups can use them to push their own narratives, but one of the biggest and most direct threats is to our justice system. This leads to a really strange and dangerous situation. Some call it the liar's dividend. Think about it. Once everybody knows that perfect fakes exist, it becomes really easy for a guilty person to dismiss real evidence. You could have a genuine video of someone committing a crime, and they can just shrug and say, that's a deepfake. It gives liars a powerful new tool, and it completely undermines the value of real proof.
And this is not just a theory. This is already happening. Deepfakes have started showing up in courtrooms. In one case, a judge even admitted that an AI-generated video statement from a murder victim actually influenced the sentencing. It's an absolute ethical minefield that puts the integrity of our entire legal process and the right to a fair trial in jeopardy.
Okay, so the problem is huge, it's personal, and it affects all of society. But there is a race for a solution happening as we speak. It's a fight for truth that's being fought on three main fronts: technology, law, and education.
Now, on the tech side of things, the battle for transparency really comes down to two big ideas: marking and labeling. Think of marking as embedding a kind of digital watermark directly into the content from the moment it's created. Labeling is what platforms do later. They scan the content and add a little tag if they think it's been generated by AI. Both approaches have their strengths and weaknesses. And because neither of those is a perfect fix, experts are saying we need a strategy with multiple levels. It starts with watermarking at the source. Then you use sophisticated AI to detect signs of manipulation. But you can't just rely on algorithms. You need human moderators to add context. And finally, you clearly label the content so that everyone knows what they're looking at. It's a defense-in-depth approach. And it's not just researchers talking about this. Governments are on the move. In the US, DARPA is funding advanced technology to detect fakes. And over in Europe, the huge new EU AI Act now legally requires that deepfakes be disclosed. So what we're seeing is this growing, but kind of messy patchwork of laws around the world. The EU, for instance, is focused on transparency. The US and the UK are making non-consensual fakes a crime and forcing platforms to take them down quickly. And some places are going even further. They're trying to outlaw the very creation of these malicious fakes, not just sharing them. So where does that leave us? This technology is the definition of a double-edged sword. It has incredible potential for creativity and fun, but also for immense harm. Figuring out how to navigate that future is going to require a massive effort from everyone. Building resilience against this isn't about finding one magic solution. It's going to take a combination of everything we've talked about. We need better tech, we need clear and tough laws, we need tech companies to take responsibility, and maybe most importantly, we need public education. We all need to get better at thinking critically about the media we consume every single day.
And that leaves us with one final and very big question. As this technology gets better and better, we might face a world of perfect fakes. Fakes so good that even our best tools can't spot them. And in that world, the challenge isn't about technology anymore. It's philosophical. How do we as a society agree on what's real? That's the question we'll have to answer. Thanks for watching The Explainer.